Would you like to become the number one company in your particular market or industry? Would you like to become the best at what you do? In order for you to become the best, you first have to become at least as good as your competitors before you can become better than them. Make sense? But that's not going to happen until you take the time to learn your competitors' strengths and weaknesses, their secret sauce, what they do well, and how they do it before you can become better than them. If you'd like to learn how to develop a competitive intelligence program that will allow you to develop a true competitive advantage and deliver greater value to your customers and prospects than your competitors do, then this video is for you. Transforming your business from struggling to success and from success to significance. Most companies can tell you who their largest competitors are, but they know very little about them. Like racehorses with blinkers on, most companies go about their business with blinders on. They focus strictly on the track directly ahead of them. They limit their focus to themselves and their own operations and execution. Unfortunately, neither the racehorse nor your company are alone in this race we call the business world. By focusing on themselves and their own perspective, most companies do not take the time to understand their customers' needs or pain points. We talked about this in the competitive advantage video. They don't take the time to get inside the head of their customer and understand the industry from their customer's perspective. Well, that statement is even more true when we talk about your competitor's perspective. Most companies can tell you who their top 3 competitors are, but they can't tell you why they are successful or how they became so successful, what their strengths and weaknesses are, or how they could be surpassed in this race. So how do you find this information on your competitors? Competitive intelligence, or CI, is the discipline of gathering information regarding your competitors in a legal, honest, and ethical manner. This information is used to support a company's strategic decision-making process, especially when developing their competitive advantage. CI gathers data from multiple sources, including human sources, but the information is generally readily available in the public domain and gathered overtly. In contrast, industrial espionage is illegal but looks to gather proprietary, confidential, and trade secrets about a company through sources and channels that are often illegal, unethical, and covert. Why is competitive intelligence so important for every company? Before going into developing a competitive intelligence program that will give you the information you need about the dominant players in your industry so that you can become better than them at meeting your customers' needs, let's look at 8 reasons why you should invest your time and money into studying your competitors. Number 1, they are an extremely knowledgeable stakeholder. Other than God and your customer, no one knows more about your industry and your customers than your competitors. No one knows the challenges you are facing in your business to deliver value to your customer more than your competitors. You can learn a lot from their knowledge and experience. Number 2, to understand your strengths and weaknesses. How can you truly understand or define your strengths and weaknesses without evaluating them in comparison to your customer's strengths and weaknesses? Number 3, your competitive advantage. We talked about this in the competitive advantage video. In order for you to know what you do better than your competitors or develop a competitive advantage, you need to know what your competitors do well and how they do it. Number 4 is industry best practices. In order to ensure you are implementing the best practices from your industry, you need to know what best practices your competitors are using and how and why they are using them. The 5th reason is understanding your customers' needs better. Since your competitors are extremely knowledgeable about your customers' needs and pain points, they might know more about them than you do. They might have identified a customer's need you missed and are already crafting a valuable solution to that need. The 6th reason is understanding your competitor through your customer's eyes. By studying your competitors through the eyes of your customers, you're able to see how your customers perceive both you and your competitors, and get a better understanding of their competitive advantage and perceived strengths and weaknesses. You get this information by asking your customers the right questions about your competition. The 7th reason is understanding the future of your market. Other than God, no one has a perfect crystal ball to see the future of your market and industry. But it's helpful to understand where your competitors see the future and what they are doing to prepare for it. you might want to follow suit. If not, at least you'll be making an informed decision about your situation in the future. And the eighth reason is what I call the zero-sum game. Some well-established markets have very little growth of new customers. This is especially true in the federal government contracting industry. Each competitor is basically fighting for a piece of the same pie. In order for your share of the market to grow, a competitor's share has to decrease, hence zero sum. To win, your competitor has to lose. If you are not studying ways to beat your competition through a competitive advantage, you can be assured they are working on one to beat you. Now let's talk about how you can obtain the information on your competitors that you need. Here are the top 5 sources of this competitive information. The first one is online sources. This is where most people look. It would include online companies offering competitive intelligence data that comes from government-established reports, internet searches, and data subscription services. These data subscription services would include Dun & Bradstreet, LexisNexis, Bloomberg, but sometimes they simply research news posts and free content that already exists on the internet. Or you could search the internet yourself. The problem with this online information is that it lacks the information that you really need, and also it's probably delayed. It's probably old information. The information you need is information about your competitors' strengths and weaknesses, their secret sauce for success, detailed information about their products and services, their market share, and information about their customers, which ones they are successful with and which ones they are struggling with. Once you understand the limitations of online sources, then you can understand why the people you hired to write your business plans and strategic plans in the past struck out when it came to market analysis, competitive information, or writing your own competitive advantage. So where do you find the information you really need? The answer lies in the other 4 sources of competitive intelligence. The second source is current and former employees. Without a doubt, your competitors' current and former employees are the greatest and most trusted source of information. If you can access these people, you are getting a rare glimpse behind the curtain of your competitors. If you look for them, you will find them right under your nose. Some of them are even trying to contact you now. Your HR department should be briefed on who your competitors are and be on the lookout for resumes and applications submitted from their current and former employees. People quit or get fired and are simply looking for new jobs. Where do they look? They look for similar jobs among their competitors. That's you. Keep an eye out for these people and have someone perform a telephone interview with them, each and every one of them. Along with the normal job interview questions you ask every candidate, ask some of them the competitive intelligence questions that we will talk about later in this video. I promise you, learn to ask the right questions and you will find out everything you need to know. In the government contracting arena, when a major contract is up for rebid, contractors frequently post job openings for positions that will be required under that contract even before they turn in their bid. In other words, these job openings don't exist yet. These are known as ghost positions. Who turns in an application for those positions? Well, many of the contractors who are serving on the current contract. Why? Because they want to ensure that if their current employer doesn't win the bid, they still have a job. If you ask them the right questions, they will generally tell you everything you want to know about your competitor and the contract you're trying to win. Many companies have standard job positions they continuously post to their websites. Generally, these are also ghost positions. They do not have current openings, but are always looking to find the top talent in their industry and want to be able to hire quickly once a new position opens up. Additionally, by always posting the need for help, it gives the impression that they are a dynamically growing company. These continuous job postings bring in lots of resumes. When your HR and department heads review these resumes, make sure they look for people who have worked recently at your competitors and make sure those people receive a telephone interview. The third source of competitive intelligence is current and former customers. The second best source of competitive intelligence comes from your competitors' current and former customers. These are the people your competitors are servicing or were servicing. They will know if your competitor's performance met, exceeded, or disappointed their expectations, needs, and pain points. If you ask the right questions, you will not only find out your competitor's strengths and weaknesses, but what need or pain point is still not being met by either you or your competitors. This information can then become your future competitive advantage. There are many ways to identify your competitors' current and former customers, but if your salespeople are doing their job, they are already stumbling across them every single day. There's an excellent chance that your customers and prospects are the current and former customers of your competitors. Since your salespeople are already talking to them, or should be, it's simply a matter of learning to ask the right questions. Sadly, most salespeople would rather pretend that they don't have any competitors than simply ask the right questions about their competitors. The fourth best source of competitive intelligence comes from industry subject matter experts. These are generally consultants to the industry. They may have been former employees or customers in the industry, but now they work as independent consultants to the industry in a very specific niche. They may have been experts in business development, leadership and management, finance, or logistics. They have developed a reputation for excellence in some area and are in demand in the industry. In the course of their jobs, they interface and work closely with many of your competitors. And since they generally work with C-level and senior management, they generally have a very good inside knowledge of the companies that they work with. Although they may have signed a confidentiality agreement with their clients, they are generally willing to talk to you about their work and what they know if you learned how to ask the right questions, which we were going to talk about later. The fifth best source of competitive intelligence is found in industry trade shows, conferences, and seminars. Industry-related conferences, seminars, and trade shows are great places to meet all potential CI sources. Unfortunately, most professionals attend these events without realizing that they are at the greatest fishing hole in the world and lack the foresight to bring a rod and reel. Who attends these events? Your current and former employees, current and former customers of your competitors, industry business development people, industry subject matter experts, and your competitors' current and former suppliers and vendors. Every one of them knows something about your competitors you would like to know. The information is there, you just need to be intentional about your meetings and learn to ask the right questions. If you know of any other good sources of competitive intelligence, please let me know in the comments section below. So what are the right questions to ask these four sources that we just talked about? Well, number one, be specific. Write the questions out in advance. Don't waste their time or your time with generalities, except when you're trying to break the ice. Secondly, prioritize your questions so that if you only get an answer to one or two questions, you got the answers to your most important questions. 3, tailor your questions to the position they had with your competitor or the position they had that interfaced with your competitor. For example, don't ask questions about revenue and market share to someone that was a machine operator on the production floor. If you have an existing CI database or spreadsheet, which you will after this video, review it in advance to understand what information you need regarding this particular competitor. 5th, start by telling the interviewee why you were asking them questions regarding your competitor. You are in the same industry as them, and you have heard so many great things about that competitor. And since you provide similar products or services as the competitor, you are always interested in knowing how other companies provide similar products or services as you do. In other words, it's only natural that you're curious to learn more about a distinguished colleague. 6th, ask them about their specific involvement in that company. People are more comfortable talking about what they did on a daily basis rather than talking about what someone else did at the company. Number 7, now here's the key to getting people to open up to you and talk about your competitor. That is, talk up your competitor. Talk about how great they are. Talk about how good, positive things you have heard about them. After you have done this for a while, they will eventually say, whoa, they're not that good. The following words they say will tell you what you are really trying to find out about your competitor's strengths and weaknesses. 8th, don't take any one person's testimony on anything as being conclusive. Be wary of misinformation. Ideally, you would confirm all the information you receive with several testimonies from different people who came from different roles in that company. As I said previously, if you learn to ask the right questions in an honest, disarming way, these people will open up to you and give you more information than you were looking for in the first place. Lastly, do this in a Christ-like manner. Whenever I do this, I try to do this as if I'm being recorded, and what I am saying will get back to my competitors. I never want to be embarrassed if they find out what I said, the questions I asked, or what I did. So, now that you have this information on your competitors, what do you do with it? There is no standard format for recording competitive intelligence information data, but I suggest that you put this information in a database or a spreadsheet. The table I present in my book, Strategic Planning for Kingdom Businesses, is one that I have used for several clients. The type of information you gather would differ from industry to industry, but it would generally include information about your competitors' products and services, their customers, their strengths and weaknesses, their market share, and any other information you consider pertinent. I've often found that the best way to determine which information should be tracked and recorded is to start recording information about your own company. Start filling out the table below on your own company. Knowing what you know about your own company and industry, what information do you feel would define your customers, your products and services, your strengths and weaknesses, your competitive advantage, and your position in the industry? What are the most important facts that describe why you have been successful? What are the details about you that your competitors would love to know? Once you determine your pertinent information, you simply need to find your competitors' corresponding information to complete the table. You will probably start with online sources regarding your competitors, but as I said, the best and most current information will come from talking to the people who have recently worked with your competitors. Make sure to designate someone in your company to be responsible for this competitive intelligence program. You need accountability or this will fall through the cracks. Often this falls to someone in your sales department because they are the ones that are meeting your competitors, customers, vendors, and suppliers on a regular basis. They are the ones attending the industry trade shows. Make sure everyone in your company knows their role in collecting this information. That would include HR, sales and marketing, finance, production, and technology for some companies. Make sure you review this program on a regular basis. I suggest you meet with your team of people twice per year and review the information you have on your competitors and see what information you have and what information is still missing. What can you do to gather the remaining information? How can you use the information you already have to bring greater value to your customers and develop a true competitive advantage? Hopefully this video has helped you understand the importance of gathering competitive intelligence on your competitors, why you need this information, where you can find this information, how to go about collecting it, and the right questions to ask to get that information. If you would like more information on this topic, please take a look at my book, Strategic Planning for Kingdom Businesses. I'll leave the link below. If this video has been of some help to you, please hit the like and subscribe buttons below. And until then, be blessed and keep doing business His way.